Hello everybody, Gary here, and I want to start off by saying that I do apologize for the lack of edited content recently. I haven't had as much free time as of recent, and I've been prioritizing streaming. Actually, my reason is that I've been playing Expedition 33. If you haven't played it, then play it, and you'll understand. Anyways, a couple of days ago, I put out a poll asking you guys if you wanted to see a guide for how I make my Cyberpunk intros, with V standing there looking cute as always, and a majority of you said yes. So that's what this video is going to be. And as a bonus, I'll quickly go over how I make my thumbnails towards the end of the video. And before we get started, I want to quickly thank my channel members. You guys are the absolute best, and the fact that you decide to support my channel even more than you already do is absolutely insane. And with that being said, here is how I make my intros in Cyberpunk. The first thing you're going to need is a couple of mods. The first mod, and probably the biggest mod, is the appearance menu mod. This is the bread and butter for how I make my intros, so make sure to grab Cyber Engine tweaks and the other required mods if you haven't. Now you can stop here and make my intros if you want, however I would suggest a couple of more mods. The next mod is Character Lighting Suite, aka CharLi. This in my opinion is the best lighting mod for Cyberpunk, giving you a variety of different lighting options and customizations. And the last one is Freefly or NoClip. This mod, well, gives you NoClip. It can help give you some minor adjustments to get the perfect angle and perspective for your shot. It basically turns V into a camera. Now that we've gone over the mods, I'm going to jump into the game and actually show you how I get it all set up. Alright. We are now in Cyberpunk, and I'm also going off script, so please wish me luck. Now before we get started and actually make our intros, let's set up a couple of keybinds real quick. So you want to open up your Cyber Engine tweaks. If you just had it installed, it will tell you what you want to bind it to when you open the game. I have it set to the tilde key, which is the one right above the tab key. And once you have it open, you're going to go over to bindings. And we're going to scroll down just a tad. By tad, I mean a lot. And you want to look for toggle HUD. And I have this set to the / key. We also want to toggle the Freefly. So go and find activation key. And I have that set to /. And you could choose whatever keys you want to use. That's just what I use personally. And then once you have them set, you're going to click save. So now if I pressed /, now our HUD is basically gone. It's completely gone. You will get like arrows indicating that there are cops and stuff like that, but it pretty much gets rid of like 95% of the HUD elements. So it's very, very nice. And you can do it all in just a press of a button. And then if I press the / key, now we can basically fly. And what's great about Freefly is that you can change the fly speed. So if we set it to like 16.54 and then go ahead and activate it, yeah, we can zoom pretty far. It's absolutely crazy. So it is really good for basically turning V into a camera, but it's also good to get some like nice aerial shots if you want to go for that as well. It's a really nice mod. But for the sake of making my intros, I usually keep it at about like 0.3, 0.5, somewhere around there. I definitely would not go any higher than like 0.7. All right, so now once the keybinds are set, we can actually get started in making the intro. So in terms of like choosing where to do your intro or where to put V, you honestly could pick any spot that you want. It really is just a matter of what you're looking for. What I like more is having like my background be populated with like cars and civvies and stuff like that. So I like to pick areas where, you know, it's pretty crowded. Where I'm at is a bit north from the Senate and Market fast travel point. All right, so once you pick a location that you are happy with, next thing we're going to do is you want to make sure that your V is wearing the outfit that you want for the intro. This is what V is rocking for this video. There's also way too many outfits on Nexus, so you'll definitely find something that you're looking for. We're gonna open up Cyber Engine tweaks. I'm gonna go ahead and close this, and we're gonna open the appearance menu mod. All you're gonna do is just go to spawn, and then we're gonna go to main characters, and then we're gonna scroll down until we see V. And now V has spawned in as an NPC. There she is. And once she spawns, we're going to go over to tools, and then we're going to select open target tools. So to kind of quickly explain how everything works, the red box here will have her go back and forth. The yellow one will make her go left and right. or side to side. And then the blue will make her go up and down. Positions, this here is really nice. So like for one, you can freeze V, because if you don't freeze her and you start moving away, then V will like follow you like a companion. And it's kind of annoying, especially if you have her in a spot that you really like. So since we have her frozen, we can now make some adjustments and she won't go anywhere. So it's really nice. You can also save a position. So let's say we want her right here, right? I'm gonna click save. Say you're adjusting her and you're like, oh crap, she's gone. Well, you can just click restore and then it'll put her back in the location that you had saved. So it's very, very nice. Facial expressions, you know, pretty self-explanatory. It will give you facial expressions that you can give her. The one that I use the most is joy. You can't see it right now. Oh, you V, you bastard. She keeps moving, but I have to show the facial expressions. So, Faye, god damn it, Faye. You know what? We'll work on this later. We'll do facial expressions later. Okay, we'll do it later. Once I have her posed, she won't keep moving. Speaking of which, let's get her posed. All right, so to pose V, it's very simple. All we're gonna do is just go to the poses tab. And if you're playing as male V, you're gonna see man average. We're playing female V, so we have woman average. And yeah, don't be intimidated, but there are a lot of different poses. This is basically every pose animation that is in the game. It's just a matter of trying to find the one that you want. So yeah, there are a bunch of poses in this game. And you know, you could just sit here and you could scroll through and all that, but just to save some time, we're just going to search. And because we want V to stand, we're just going to search stand. And this will give you all of the standing poses. Yeah, you can do T-pose. Apparently that's being afraid, is you just T-pose and assert dominance. So is dynamic. Okay, I think some of them are bugged. I think some are a little bugged. But yeah, it's really just a matter of going through and finding a really good pose. Now, if you don't want to do all that, that's all good. I do have some favorited that I would recommend. First one that I recommend, and probably one of my favorites, is the Claire stand right hand on hip dynamic 0-1. You know, if you want V to have a cigarette, you have stand right hand cigarette, left hand crossed. Already got this one here, corpo stand left hand tablet. It will actually spawn a tablet, but if you try to do an animation with it, it just despawns. But yeah, let's say you find a pose that you like I do like this tablet one, just make sure to favorite it, so that way you can find it later. It's very useful. Dirt stand 2 hand on hip 0-1, I like that one as well, so we're gonna go ahead and favorite that. Maybe we'll use that one for this intro. We'll use this one. Yeah, let's use this one. Dirt stand 2 hand on hip number 1. I think we're gonna move V over to the left a little bit, so let's do that. Let's move her this way. Yeah, I like that. And then we're gonna rotate her. Rotate her so she's, you know, a bit towards us. And then once we have her in a good spot. Now, right now, she's just kind of staring off in the distance. Probably, you know. Who knows what V's thinking about right now? Probably the fact that there's a chip in her head that's trying to kill her. I mean, I would be too, if I was being honest. But to make her actually look at us, we're gonna open up the target tools once again. Scroll all the way down to current target. Make sure player V is selected and then click activate. And now she's gonna be looking at us. And now at this point, we can choose an expression. The one that I usually like to use is either joy. I do like joy, or I'll do interested. Those are the ones I like to use the most. Let's do interested for this one, because this is a very interesting video for sure. And if any of you are wondering what FOV I use, I believe it's 95. Yeah, I use an FOV of 95. You could definitely mess around with the field of view as well. So if we put it down to like 70, you know, we can get something like this. I think that's a bit too close and you really don't get to see much of the background. So I actually like to use 95, because I can always, you know, if I want to zoom in, I can always do that in like Sony Vegas and stuff. So I would rather be too far back than be too close, because if I'm too far back, I can definitely... I just saw a kid almost get hit by a car. All right, anyways, I'm getting distracted. This game is distracting. All right, so now we are at the lighting portion of the making the intro. And like I said before, you could just stop right here, you know, toggle the HUD and just start it like this. But, you know, it can always look better. It can definitely look better. First thing I'd recommend, if you can do it, try to put your settings up if you can. If your PC is a bit on the lower end and you cannot do that, it's fine. It's okay. But if you can turn up your settings just a little bit, plus we're not like doing any insane combat. We're literally just standing here staring at V. So if you can, great. If not, that's fine. I'll even put on ray tracing because, you know, I just want to prove a point. This might crash my game, but we'll see what happens. Gonna click apply. Holy crap. I don't know how I feel about it. That looks kind of cursed. What if I do Psycho? I'm gonna keep it because we can definitely work with it. We can definitely work with it. V kind of looks a bit uncanny right now, but that's okay. Now we're gonna introduce the lighting program, Mr. CharLi. Now it does have 4 different lighting types. So Spotlight is pretty self-explanatory. It's a spotlight. So the spotlight is really good for, you know, highlighting certain details. It's not good for like fully lighting V. You know, if maybe like she's holding a gun and you want to kind of shine some light off of it, you know, the spotlight can do good for that. Entropy and industrial are going to be the ones that you're going to use to light V for the most part. Entropy is basically a tube. It shines from pretty much all angles, regardless of how you rotate it. So that's very nice. And industrial is basically entropy, but it's brighter and it's taller. So I like to use industrial for maybe like some background lighting to kind of have it match with V. And then favelas are just like really skinny tubes. I don't really get a use for favelas. I don't think I've ever used them for an intro or for photos. You know, maybe if I want to make a lightsaber, they basically look like lightsabers. But the ones that I mainly use are the entropy and industrial. And if I want to do a bit of detailing, I'll also use the spotlights. Oh wait, I forgot to mention, time of day is actually really important. So if you are going to do any lighting, my best advice is I would do it sometime between, I'd say somewhere around, you know, dawn, early morning to late afternoon, sunset is when I tend to get the best outcomes for lighting. I just would not do it in like the middle of the day, especially when it's bright. Well, unfortunately, we have a sandstorm, right? Okay, it just immediately disappeared. That's awesome. But I don't do it like right in the middle of the day around noon because sometimes the lighting just will not show as well. And that also applies to the dead of night. Yeah, we'll do 1742. I'm going to pause the time progression so that way the natural lighting will not change. And then you can also change the weather as well. I think I'm going to do 2 entropies. Now keep in mind that the lights are going to spawn on you, not the V that is in front of you. So we will have to make some adjustments to the position, but that is completely a-okay. So once you spawn a light, you're going to get a marker here. And the marker's here just to basically help you see where the lights are at, roughly. So since it's here, I know that the lights are pretty close. And from here, yes, we got 1 there and 1 there. And what I'm going to do is we're going to position them. Go a bit this way, and then we're going to go a bit that way. And they're a bit far apart, so we're going to come up here to the radius, and we're just going to decrease it. Like so. And then from here, you can rotate them. You can also use convergence to make them, to kind of close the gap a little bit. And what's also great about this too is that you can completely hide the marker and the lights, and you'll still get the lighting effect, and you just won't see them on your screen. So it's very, very nice. So far so good. We can disable, see how that looks so far. What we can also do is turn up the intensity of the light. So we can turn it up just a little bit. And if that's still not bright enough, you can turn this multiplier and just make it incredibly bright. Sorry. I should have warned you. That was very bright. And then another good one too is that you can adjust the color. In terms of choosing what color to use, best advice I can give you is look at your surroundings. So like right now, just looking around, we do have some blue back there. And a bit of blue from the sky. It's a lot of blues. So we're gonna add some blues. And it's very important that, you know, you get the position that you want to stand in before you start doing lights, because like I said before, the lights are stuck on you. So if you get a good spot and then all of a sudden you walk away, then you're gonna have to mess with all that stuff up again, and that's just not fun. What did I say before? Oh, right, yeah. We're gonna make it a bit blue. So I'm gonna turn down the red just a little bit. Turn down the green a little bit, see how that looks. Maybe turn up the intensity. Nah, we'll keep it there. We don't need a crazy amount of light here, but just enough to really make V pop out. And let's do it industrial. So we have lights on the left side, so let's do some lights on the right side. So we're gonna do one industrial just to kind of show you what that looks like. I'm gonna rotate it real quick. Yeah, look at that big tube. Big massive tube. Can we get some pipes in the oh wait, I'm not streaming. I've been streaming so much, I'm so used to streaming. I apologize. All right, so now we do have some blues on this side. We could kind of contrast with maybe some other colors. You know, I like to do the blue and purple, or kind of like the pinkish purple to kind of match with V's hair. So let's do that. Let's turn down the blue a little bit. And then maybe turn down the red or the green. That's the green, Gary. See, look at that. That's looking great. Look at that. It's already looking better. Like, you know, let me just show you the before and after real quick. All right. Here's before. You know, it's all right. And then after, look at that. Look at that. Boom. Gorgeous, beautiful woman right here. That's all I'm saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. And I think I want some sort of like backlight, or I forget the actual term. It's like a light that's kind of like, it shines behind the object. It's like the rim or something. I forget the freaking term for it. Any photographers in the description? What are you looking at me for, lady? What? Excuse me. Oh my god, they were looking me up and down. What the hell is their problem? I'm just trying to make a guide here. God damn. We're gonna spawn another entropy light. I think that's gonna be the play here. And we're gonna rotate it. I'm gonna bring it back just a bit. Yeah, we're just gonna spawn it right there. Actually, you know what? I think this is gonna be a great time to do a spotlight. Let's spawn a spotlight. And we're gonna rotate it. Like so. We're gonna do some positioning here. And then this third one's gonna make it go up and down. We're just gonna spawn that. That's just gonna shine so bright on her back. Oh my god, it's going through her face. Okay, we gotta back it up just a little bit. We gotta back it up. Oh my god, it's shining through her face. This is new. I haven't had this happen. Is it because of the ray tracing? Is that why it's doing that? Is that why that's happening? Oh yeah, there's also a good opportunity to show the angles. You can roll, pitch, or yaw. I know it's not actually how it's pronounced, but yeah, look at that. Do something like this. That's obviously very bright. We don't have to have it that bright. Does not need to be that bright. But yeah, you kind of just see how like there's some light bouncing off here. I guess it would make more sense if it wasn't a cloudy day, but we could like have that be like the street light or something, you know. But we can obviously turn down the intensity. It does not need to be that bright. Does not need to be that bright. And then we can also adjust the color of it. It is on this side, so maybe we make it more of like a purple to kind of match. There you go. Yeah, that's looking good. That's looking nice. And then once again, we can go ahead and just hide that stuff. Did I hide this stuff? No, I did not. All right, let me try. I'm going to try to change the time. I'm going to change the weather, actually. I'm not really vibing with the cloudy. Let's do light clouds. Yeah, it's a bit better. It's a bit better. Okay. I think I'm going to do one more entropy. And then we're going to rotate it. See, the problem is that right now you don't see the light because I'm blocking it, so it's not really, so you can't really see it. So once again, we're gonna have to move it. All right, turn up the radius, rotate it, turn up just a little bit. There you go. I like that. Before or after. Again, it's a very small light, but even the smallest of lights can make all the difference. Somebody should write that down. It's a very inspirational quote. All right. I think the lighting is good. God damn it, there's a cop behind me. That arrow is going to be there for a while. You know what? That's fine. That's fine. Could be worse. All right, so once you have the lighting and everything is good, all we're going to do is we're going to close Cyber Engine Tweaks, and I'm going to toggle off the HUD, turn that off, and boom. Look at that. I just made the intro that I used for the intro for this video. That's pretty crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run for just a few minutes, just so that way I do get some footage. In terms of like how long I go with leaving this recording, I will leave it for like 3 to 5 minutes. In fact, I'll let this record and I'll just like watch YouTube videos or something. But yeah, I'd say around 3 to 5 minutes. Just let this go for a little bit. And yeah, so this is going to cover the portion of the video of how I make my intros, make them look like this. So now I'm going to teach you guys how to make my thumbnails. Hey guys, it's Editing Gary here. So I was supposed to also explain how I did the photos and stuff, but I proceeded to just not really say anything during the time that I was making the photo because I just kind of got in the zone. I kind of forgot that I was just recording. I don't know what it is, but I just got really uber focused and I was just not talking. So I'm going to quickly just explain my process here. It's just pretty much making a photo like you would always do, you know, finding a pose, a facial expression, and all that. In terms of my FOV, I keep it somewhere between 35 to 50. I don't go anything lower or higher than that. You know, and I still use the CharLi lighting mod. It's a lot easier for photo mode because it will surround, you know, V in the photo mode, so you don't have to like move it around manually. It will always be surrounding her, so that's very nice. Make sure you turn off the depth of field, because the depth of field in this game is really not that great. And plus, I can add my own depth of field to Photoshop once we get the picture. So make sure you turn it off. And once you're happy with it, you know, you take a screenshot, save it, and that's basically it. Now I'm gonna hop on over to Photoshop and show you how it is done. All right, so now I am in Photoshop. That's what I use to make my thumbnails. Don't judge. And I'm going to show you the process. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go over to the object selection tool and we're going to select V, and hopefully it grabs her and the guitar. It did not grab the guitar or her fingers. Okay. So we're going to press Shift, click again, see if it'll get the guitar this time. Okay, got the guitar. It did miss a couple of things, but that's not a problem. We can just go to the quick selection tool, press and hold Shift, and select all the parts that it missed. And all right, so once everything is selected and it looks good, we're just gonna hit Control C and Control V. Get it, Control V. And I did have her be a bit further back than I usually do, so I'm gonna select all the layers by Shift and then clicking, and then I'm gonna press Control T, and we're gonna zoom in just a little bit. Something that I like to do is give V kind of like a outline just to really make her stand out. So we're gonna double click on the V layer. Then we're going to enable outer glow. And yeah, there's some imperfections here. We can obviously fix that, so that is not a worry. I am just gonna click OK for now. And then we can do some minor adjustments in the meantime. But we're gonna grab the eraser tool and we're just gonna erase all of the random lines that made it into the V layer. Actually, this turned out better than usual. That is crazy. That's usually not the case. So once that's done, we're going to double click once again. And in terms of the settings, I kind of just experiment with the spread and the size. So the size is obviously going to make the glow bigger. Spread is going to increase or decrease the amount of glow that there is. And then size is going to make it either bigger or smaller. Best way I can describe it. So let's go with 15 spread, 32 size. Awesome. And then we're going to go to the first layer here. So make sure that's selected. And we're going to go to filters, going to go to blur, and then go to Gaussian blur. And that it's just going to give us that depth of field in the background. That is just far more appealing than the one in the game. So let's do a radius of like 4.5. And since V has some like blues and purples in the lighting, I kind of want to implement that in the background. So we're going to go to adjustments and then go to color balance. And let's turn the cyan up a little bit. We'll turn up the magenta a little bit. Some blues as well. Click OK. And then we're going to click on the V layer. Go to levels. So this will completely adjust the lighting for V. Kind of go with a darker tone here. Just making some minor adjustments. Another good option as well that you can experiment with is using the blur tool. If you want, this is not, you don't have to do this, this is not required. Sometimes I don't, but if like the lines are really jagged in some areas, I'll use the blur tool. So, you know, you can experiment with that, especially the hair, because the hair can get a little sloppy. So to finish this off, we're just going to go back to the first layer here, and we're going to drag in the Cyberpunk logo. And then once again, we're going to just add a outer glow to that. All right, and this is going to cover the thumbnail portion of the video, as well as just the video in general. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Like I said before, I do apologize for the lack of edited content, but I'm hoping to get a video out very soon for you guys. So make sure you are subscribed so that way you'll be notified when that video comes out. And I also do stream on YouTube 4 to 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So if you want to catch a live stream, come say hi and see what we're up to. We would love to have you stop by. Thank you for watching. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next one. Later.